From the very, very beginning, I've always said this phrase, I don't want it to be a safe space, but a progressive one. And so not just safe, not just that we're hiding away from the misogyny, the sexism and stuff like that, but also that we're creating an impact to change the industry.
Thanks so much to our episode sponsors, Hero Forge. Oh, our favorite. Welcome to Hero Forge, where your creativity knows no bounds. Whether you are a character builder, a 3D printing enthusiast, or a virtual tabletop adventurer, Hero Forge has something special just for you. You can step into their intuitive character creator, where you can design stunning, high-resolution characters in full 3D right in your browser. I cannot tell you how many hours of my life I have lost to enjoying this feature. With a vast library of thousands of parts and customization options, the only limit is your imagination. You can purchase your unique character designs as custom 30mm scale miniatures, the perfect addition to your RPG adventures. Choose from materials like paintable plastics, rugged metal, or color plastic for vibrant, table-ready minis. Hey guys, that means you don't have to paint them yourselves, and as much as I really want to be talented enough to paint them, I just haven't been able to achieve that yet. So you can do it this way too! If you prefer 3D printing, download detailed STL files of your designs directly to your Hero Forge account. Just unzip and print at home, super easy. For virtual tabletop enthusiasts, bring your custom characters into cutting-edge programs with 3D digital miniatures. With the Access Key feature, seamlessly sync your miniatures with supported platforms. No downloads required. They make it so easy. But wait, there's more! If you're craving even more customization, upgrade your Hero Forge experience with a Pro subscription and unlock a treasure trove of additional functions. Gain early access to upcoming products and features, export unlimited 2D digital portraits and tokens, or mesmerize your audience with the Spinny Mini feature. Spinny Mini, that's fun to say. Showcasing your character from every angle. There is something for every adventurer at Hero Forge. Get started designing, saving, and sharing your characters today. Hero Forge, your imagination brought to life. This episode is also brought to you by the Halp Network Entertainment Academy, a dedicated community within the Halp Network that offers a plethora of classes, workshops, panels, and downloadable content for creatives all over the world. Their mission is to enhance the expertise and abilities of actors, sound designers, musicians, writers, and various other professions within games, film, and animation. Through their reliable network, they carefully assess their instructors and collaborate with them to develop comprehensive curricula across all genres of VO, sound design, and the world of performance capture. They provide knowledge, resources, and educational support to a wide range of students, from newcomers in the field to seasoned veterans. The Halp Network Entertainment Academy is deeply rooted in the spirit of giving back, with many of their instructors continuing to actively engage in THNEA classes themselves. Visit halpacademy.com to sign up for online and in-person classes. Or, for those who prefer to learn at their own pace, be sure to check out their pre-recorded videos, panels, events, and more. Hello and welcome to Character Select. I am Anjali Bhimani.
And I'm Julia Bianco.
And today we have a delightful furry co-host who decided that he wanted to come to the studio. Our little studio dog, Charlie the best dog. Everyone say hello. Hi, Charlie. Yes, I'm that dog owner. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. We're in our new space.
We sure are. We're in the brand new and improved Slap Studios Los Angeles, which is in Beverly Hills. But I guess that's Los Angeles County, too. But
sure.
Slap Studios LA sounds a little cooler than Slap Studios
Beverly
BH.
Hills.
I mean, Beverly Hills is pretty cool, but I'm not going to lie. I'm very excited about this. Shout out to our CEO, Slap Studios LA, Rick Barrio Dill, who is also the executive producer of this podcast, who also happens to be my husband. But
and Charlie's dad.
And Charlie's dad. Yes, exactly. So this is a gorgeous new space, and we're very, very excited to have it. So, without further ado, should we get into the discussion with our delightful, gorgeous guest?
I'm very excited about
I
today.
am super excited about today. This one has been a long time in the making.
It sure has.
It's really difficult to schedule when you've got a lot of baller babes. I was gonna say boss bitch, but I just for some reason I pulled back. I like baller babes. I don't know why I stopped, but Today, we have the gorgeous and talented and multifaceted Jay-Ann Lopez with us. And I am going to read her official bio. Jay-Ann Lopez is the award-winning founder of Black Girl Gamers and COO of Jump Button Studio. She holds the title of Honorary Professor at Norwich University of the Arts, serves as member and judge for BAFTA, and is a renowned speaker and entrepreneur. Black Girl Gamers is a highly influential, community-powered business dedicated to advocating for diversity and inclusion and amplifying the voices of Black women. The organization collaborates with brands to promote equity for Black women in the industry through talent brokering, consulting, innovative marketing solutions, events, and content creation. But wait, there's more. In 2023, Jay-Ann received an honorary professorship from Norwich University of the Arts in recognition of her contributions to leadership in the games industry and her advocacy for Black women gamers. Later that year, she was featured in British Vogue, whatever, never heard of it, as one of the power players reshaping the gaming industry and entertainment as we know it, and recognized by the Institute of Digital Fashion as one of the top 100 innovators who are truly shaping the landscape of creative culture and technology. Jay-Ann is a sought-after speaker on diversity in gaming, entertainment, fashion, beauty, human resources, and marketing. She has delivered talks at prominent events such as E3, PAX East, Cannes Lion, EGX, ResEd, Lesbians Who Tech, and Allies Summit, Games Beat Next, and many others. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that we didn't put the others because obviously I'm having pronunciation issues. Furthermore, Jay-Ann curates content and consults for brands including So Far Sounds and Adidas, Warner Brothers, Sega, Microsoft, PlayStation, Maybelline, and YouTube. Again, never heard of them. Her work has been featured in Black Enterprise, Revolt TV, BuzzFeed, Cosmopolitan, Refinery 29, Dazed, WWD, Women's Wear Daily, Afropunk, ID, Vogue, and more. Jay-Ann also produces Gamer Girls Night In, the first women and non-binary focused event that combines gaming, beauty, and fashion. You guys, I need a nap.
Why did they send you the long one?
I love it so much!
Sorry, that was not meant to be the right version.
I want to go. No. We
like,
want.
wow.
Look, one of the many things that we want to do on this podcast is shout out the many things that all of our amazing guests do. Because the fact is, and we were talking about this before the podcast. The fact is, I don't know anyone who just does one thing anymore, and especially the women I know are like, yeah, I want to do that too. I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it.
That's it.
And you are like, I thought I did a lot of things. I feel like you get more done, in one day than I get done in a week.
That's probably a lie, but because there's some days I just take off and I'm just sleeping and I'm like, no one call me. But it's just, I enjoy what I do. That's the main thing. I enjoy the impact and I enjoy what I do. That's the main thing.
What was your intro into gaming?
So I was an only child for about 11 years, and when I was young I had two uncles. My uncles bought me my first console, which was a Nintendo, but actually, you know what, before then my mum was a single mum and she used to present on the radio, and so then she used to take me to the studio, and on the PC in the studio was Doom. So while she was presenting, I was playing Doom to keep myself occupied.
Amazing.
And then I got the Nintendo and it just went uphill from there. I've always loved games since that tender age of 6 or 7, and that includes like tabletop board games as well. But my main thing has been fantasy. I love a good fantasy game, and I've just been playing throughout my whole life. Like, just always been a constant. And I think people don't presume because they have this idea of what a gamer looks like and who they are, but it's always been a constant. And so that's how I kind of got my start into my love and start into the industry.
Did you know? I don't know. I have so many questions. Oh my God, I don't know where to begin. I'm so excited. Did you know from an early age that you wanted to be in the games industry somehow?
Yes and no. So I always wondered, like, what would it be like to be like a character or to create a game? And I never really got there. I know my family loved science, being from the Caribbean, and Black and brown families, when they immigrate somewhere, they want their child to go into some of the field, science, law, doctor, whatever.
We know it.
Yeah, I was the science kid. Yeah. So I did a biochemistry degree, and during university, I met some guys I'm no longer friends with, but they created a gaming channel, and as much as it was quite kind of misogynistic and kind of problematic, I was inspired by the fact that they had created it. So then I created my own, and then saw that there was a lack of things for Black women in general, just not even just then, but throughout my whole childhood, experiencing gaming and always feeling ostracized and feeling invisible. And so creating that space of Black Girl Gamers as a Facebook group, becoming vocal in the space, and then just talking to the industry via this platform and accruing more members, and then creating marketing solutions, brand partnerships, etc. I never fathomed, that part of it I never fathomed at all. But I did know that gaming was always going to be a part of my life. It's never going to go away. I think there's certain people who have phases. This is not a phase for me. It's never been one. But no, I never supposed I'd be BAFTA or university Norwich of the Arts. Like those things never just came into my periphery at that time. It was weird. Yeah.
What I love so much about that is that it is another wonderful example of I'm just going to follow the thing that I love.
Yes.
And I am going to turn it into the thing that I do.
Absolutely.
So that I can do the thing that I love.
Well, and I want to highlight the part of turning it into, because I feel like that's the part where that separates the people who do things and the people who don't.
Yeah.
Because having a Facebook group is one thing, but turning it into a kind of internationally known organization that is like the word in what the Black female community wants from games is. What was that transition like from like Facebook group into that?
So from the very beginning, I've always said this phrase, I don't want it to be a safe space, but a progressive one. And so not just safe, not just that we're hiding away from the misogyny, the sexism and stuff like that, but also that we're creating an impact to change the industry. So I've always done that. And then just the vocality and that visibility started to attract brands. When the diversity became the buzzword of the day, then obviously we're getting calls and stuff. And then there'll be times where I'd speak, and the first money that the business received was that speaking fee. So to be honest, people don't know this, but I've always worked a second job whilst doing Black Girl Gamers because I've always wanted to pay the team first, make sure we get that sorted. Everything's been made off of our own back. There's been no investment other than my own paycheck if necessary sometimes. And so I've always wanted to it to become bigger than it was, but also not knowing what that looked like. And there's no real guidebook for what I do. It's very different. And so turning it into something just came by seeing an opportunity and then utilizing it. So for instance, when opportunities come from me and they're not at the beginning not right for me, I'm passing it on. I'm not just leaving it there. And that became our talent offering. And then so for instance, the consultancy, knowing that one from my background, just being one in recruitment and HR, so understanding that side of the world from just my experiences in my career, 2 being a hair influencer, 3 being very well studied on Black history from my mum's upbringing, and then 4 being a lover of the game industry. All of that intersects into becoming a good consultant for game studios. And then that happened, and then just opening the doors for other members of the community to also have their name and credits and stuff. So it's just always finding those opportunities where things come and then just flip it into a business vertical. And it's worked thus far. And then the other thing is finding niches. So seeing what exists in the space and then realizing, well, there's no Black women. What does that look like from a different lens? And that's pretty much it, really. I don't know how I got here, but I'm here. Like, it's just very weird.
Well, the thing that sticks out to me the most is when you take those opportunities that are offered to you that you are not necessarily going to take and hand them over to someone else. That is a huge, huge part of, I think, the most successful people that I know in the industry are not precious about opportunities. On the contrary, they are helping other people. They are thinking of other people. You know, I know we've always joked, and a bunch of girlfriends and I in the Indian community have joked, we need like a Brown Girls casting agency because we would just hand it to each other. We would just like get the stuff and just hand it to each other because we know which of our friends, I don't need it, this one is you, and this one is you.
Yeah.
And I love that you have been thinking that way from the beginning, that what you wanted to do was create more opportunities for other people while you were creating this niche for yourself.
Yeah.
It's extraordinary.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's just my mum raised me that way a little bit. My mum's very community minded, sometimes to a fault. And so I kind of inherited that from her. And also sometimes to a fault. It's because sometimes you don't think about yourself and you put others ahead of you, and then you realize, okay, where's the energy for myself? And that's another thing, like pouring into others and not filling your own cup at times.
Do you find that that's the biggest challenge?
Yeah,
in your
100%. I this year, so my birthday was the other day, and I was just like, be kinder to yourself first, Jay. That's been a lesson that I'm trying to, because I always chide myself. Sometimes I'm too kind to the wrong people, and that can really make me feel like I shouldn't be kind at all. And I have to stop that way of thinking and be like, no, you be kind, but also be kind to yourself, and know that sometimes the kindness is saying no to somebody else. So I'm learning that lesson, really.
Yeah. I feel like that's an ongoing life lesson.
Yeah, it really
reminding
is.
who to let through. We are very lucky that we are in an industry, all of us, where we can choose to work with amazing people, because there are so many amazing people who are equally generous as anyone else, and really just want to open the door and want to pull people up the ladder. And so there's not so much space for people who are assholes in our lives or in our work.
No.
And I love that.
And I feel fortunate that I've gotten to a place in life where we can decide not to work with assholes.
Yeah.
Yes. taking that power back.
Exactly. Yeah. Did you find? I mean, I this is kind of a rhetorical question, because I know I certainly found this, but I'm interested. Did you find yourself at any point in your career feeling like you were asking permission rather than just doing the things? Like waiting for someone to give you the stuff? Yeah.
You know what? Even recently, like there's a brand that I really want to do this event like for women in gaming. So obviously you know about Gamer Girls Night in England.
Yes.
But
it was super fun. We did it together.
So
and
good.
So I want
Shout
to do
out
it.
to my co-producer.
I gotta get over there, and we gotta do that.
We're gonna bring it over here. So
okay. Oh,
yeah,
even better.
Yeah.
All right. Although I can always use the frequent flyer miles, so I'm happy to fly to you.
No. It's fine. We're gonna bring it over here. Shout out to Stephanie, my co-producer on that. But I want to do another event for women, specifically like women who are professionals in the industry. So like behind the scenes, the ones you don't get to see.
Yeah.
And it's just like they're just dragging their feet. So I'm like, you know what, F it, I'm gonna do it myself. That's always been the energy with BGG, and it's like the brands have to catch up to what we're thinking. They're so reticent or anxious, or maybe if we don't do this, then I ain't got time for that. I really don't have the time for your. Because if it was someone else, and unfortunately, if I was a lighter skinned or a white woman, I know you'd have the money for this.
Yeah.
But because it has the word black in it, and because it's a different connotation, you're scared. And the thing is, with Gamer Girls Night In, that was for all types of women. Right. So it's just like, are you really paying attention to what I'm putting down here? Like how much not only Black Girl Gamers has black women, but it has a whole plethora of people who support, because we're actually talking about equity in a general sense. And that garners support for everyone, because it helps move that needle for everybody, not just black women, but to show that these ways of thinking should not apply to any race or any gender or any sexual orientation in the space. So yes, sometimes I feel like I'm asking permission, and then sometimes I really have to remind myself, like, no, just do it. Yeah. Just find a way to do it.
Yeah.
Carve your own path.
Yeah. Well, I mean, kind of. Yeah. Basically,
well,
what I've done.
Definitely have done that.
Yeah.
I do. I just wanted to say, like, from a industry perspective, I'm curious about your view on how things have changed over the last 10 years, because I've been going to GDC for 15, 20 years, and I still don't see that many black women, and it's because it's not that there's 10 times more than 10 years ago. But I still don't feel like it's a friendly environment.
I hear you.
And so I'm curious if you've seen the needle move. Obviously, it's moved, but I'm curious about your thoughts on that.
It's moved.
Yeah.
In what direction? I'm not sure. I feel like I feel like the needle moves differently into different spaces. So if we talk about in-game representation, so like game characters and stuff, myself and Black Girl Gamers kind of went on a tirade in 2017 and 18 and chastised so many games for not having black female characters. And so after that, you see a lot more increase. They don't want to give me credit for it. It's fine. I know what I did.
Yeah. We do too.
Yeah, exactly. But then with with a needle in like the employment space, then it's a different thing. And that also what you're finding is that some of the chief diversity officers of companies that have happened to be Black women have left. And it's like, so why are they leaving? And of all roles, the most pivotal role to help increase diversity in industry. So the needle moves at different speeds in different places. I think when it comes to marketing and them wanting, and brands wanting to get the Black and brown dollar, that's where it moves the most. But then in the actual like hiring and stuff, I still think the percentages are quite low for what we want to be aiming towards. And also not even just hiring, funding studios by Black and brown people.
Correct.
That's another thing from like just indie studios that want to make their own stories. Finding just that funding is much more difficult for studios. So the answer is it's relative. I do think there's a lot more work to be done, and I think gaming is quite comfortable. And I also feel like part of the responsibility lies on consumers to be a bit more vocal with their spending and be like, I'm not going to play this game. So I did this with a game in 2018. I was like, I'm not playing this game. Until you get a Black woman, I'm not playing this game. And obviously I had a platform, so it raised a lot of awareness about it. And, you know, then it became a thing. And so I'm now talking to the company because they appreciated what I did in hindsight, even though they were scared at the time. So I think it's just relative and there's a lot more work to be done.
Well, it's interesting because I do think that there's a trickle-down effect of that where then all those kind of people who want to create the content, they come back to the dev studio and they're like, well, we need more representation. And then they're like, but you didn't hire anyone Black on the team. And they're like, okay. Then they come to someone like me and they're like, where can we find a consultant? And especially on the art side, and a lot of what I've learned on that side has been from AM Dark and the Afro Hair Library. And incredible. When we always want to recommend hiring people first.
Yes.
If you're unable to hire, then obviously consultants are a great part, but we want people employed at studios that look like the characters they're creating.
Absolutely.
And it shouldn't be that hard, but it's also, it trickles down. The dev team wants it, but then they don't think about the considerations of location, remote only, and the environment, the treatment of being the only Black person on the team.
That's a whole other thing. It's a lot. And that's why, like, as much as I say the needle moving is relative, I also understand it's a lot of work, and it's going to take a lot of time before we get to the stages at which we find parity and equality and equity in the industry. But yeah, I think there could be more done, and obviously the industry is in a state of flux right now, which is a shame. But I'm patient. I'm not going anywhere, essentially. So yeah.
Yeah, we've seen this cycle before.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Hopefully, it'll just make room for
more.
Yeah. Should we segue?
I would love to speak more about another icon in the space that this is the performance, which is actually two performances that you chose to talk about for today's. And I admit I gasped a little bit when I saw it because the loss of this person in the world, not just in the industry, was such a huge loss this last year. And I love that we get a chance to talk about him and how extraordinary he is now. So Jay-Ann has chosen to discuss Lance Reddick as Sylens and Martin Hatch. Lance Reddick had one of the most unmistakable auras in the entertainment industry. It's no surprise that when game studios required a character's voice and presence to have unrivaled amounts of gravitas and poise, that it was Reddick that often got the call. In 2016, Reddick provided the voice and likeness in Remedy Entertainment's time-jumping third-person shooter Quantum Break. He portrayed Martin Hatch, the conniving face and CEO of Monarch Solutions, who seems to have sinister connection in an accident that threatens to end time itself. The game was revolutionary in the way that it integrated live-action episodes that featured the actors of the game's voice cast. Quantum Break was the best-selling retail game in its first week of release in the UK and for some time was the Xbox One's best-selling original IP. It was nominated for Best Dialogue at the 15th Annual Gang Awards and picked up a win at the 2018 Webby Awards for Best User Experience. Then, in 2017, Reddick stepped into one of the most iconic roles of his interactive media career as Sylens in Horizon Zero Dawn, its sequel, Horizon Forbidden West, and the sequel's DLC, Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores. Reddick also provided the voice and motion capture for his character. Sylens is the cunning, tech-savvy, sometimes ally of Aloy, the series protagonist. The Burning Shores DLC set up Sylens to be an even more pivotal character for future installments of the Horizon series. And the untimely passing of Reddick in March of 2023 will undoubtedly change the direction set up by Guerrilla Games. It remains unseen how the fate of the character will be handled for the series. But in June of last year, Reddick was given a permanent memorial in the game, ensuring that he'll never be forgotten for what he contributed.
R.I.P.
So much there.
Yeah.
So much there.
He's fantastic. He's an icon. And what I liked about him the most was that he was unexpected in terms of just the way he talked, the way he presented, in terms of like his gravitas, he had this glare.
Yes.
You know, the eyes.
I do.
I loved that about
It's
him. It's so powerful. And I really loved, I didn't have many icons in gaming like growing up, but when he showed up in Quantum Break, I was like, okay, this is it. I was really, really into it. And he has that really like voice that just drops and it's really like, it's iconic. It's distinctive to anyone else I've heard. So I had to choose him, and I had to honor his memory and legacy in gaming.
Are there any particular scenes or particular moments that you remember struck you in either of these performances?
So there's the scene where in Quantum Break he's doing this like talk for Monarch, and it's like on a, I can't describe it. It's like a presentation, and then there's a shot at the end, like a gunshot, and his voice just changes, like, "Get down!" And I was like, "Is that the same person?" Because his voice just literally switched, and that was something that I was like, "He's brilliant." And then in Horizon Zero Dawn and Forbidden West, just the ambiguity of Sylens. Like, you can't place him whether he's good or bad, whether he's an ally or an enemy, and I like the fact that he was there for his own interests for the most part, but they aligned sometimes, and it just made him such an interesting character. And also, he was a know-it-all in that game.
Yeah.
A really annoying one, to be honest. Fantastic. But the scene at the end of Horizon Forbidden West where he decides to stay, I don't know, I think it was more, not the scene itself, but more so the build-up of knowing Sylens and waiting for him to have this moment where he takes his own interest and runs off, and he doesn't do that. And I was like, oh, nice. I loved it. He just builds the character up so well. But yeah.
He's such a testament, that performance, both of them, but that performance is such a testament to just taking the uniqueness that is you.
Yes.
And putting that into a character and trusting that that will be enough. Because there is no one else in the world that can do Lance Reddick. Right. It's not a thing. He was the only one of his kind ever. And you can really see that in, like you said, the ambiguity, even on, so many other roles. And I'm at the moment blanking because I'm actually feeling oddly emotional about losing him right now. There so many roles that he has done have that same, you're not going to know.
Yeah.
You're not going to know who I am until I let you know who I am. And that secret, that keeping of a secret that he always seems to have is so delicious because all you want to do is lean in. You just want to lean into watching and lean into playing, lean into any scenes that he's in. And it's so special.
He's like a center point of gravity in anything that he does.
Yes.
Because the audience is immediately like, what is happening here? Like, who is this person? Do I trust him? Do I not? And immediately, anything that he's been in, even in, I don't play this game very often, but Destiny, he was in Destiny as well. And just, I can't remember what series he was in on TV. It was blanking my mind.
Yeah,
The Wire as well. Just anything he does, it's like, he's just intriguing.
Yes.
That's just a fantastic. He's brilliant. And when he passed, the gaming industry particularly were really vocal about like, oh, he's gone. It was really sad, very sad. I understand why you're getting emotional because his talent was second to none.
We didn't lose Michael K. Williams that much,
after
him either. So the two of them both. And one of the things I was going to say about Lance, but we can say the same about Michael, is the reverence that they showed for the role in a game. It was always the same as TV, film, whatever they were in, and you just, unfortunately, we just don't get that always. We don't get that the actor, whether the most famous actor in the world or a nobody, if you will, not everyone gives games the same reverence.
That's true.
And so for him to give the life into those characters and the commitment and that exact same ambiguity that he's known for so well, and just like infuse it into a game. I'm getting goosebumps. It's so cool.
He was invested, and I think I appreciate that the most because obviously we're seeing this huge this huge intersection between TV and film right now. Obviously, Anjali, you know, of course. And I wonder if in the industry or others that they're paying attention to games as a medium, really as a true art form, as opposed to a quick paycheck sometimes.
I really hope so, because here's the thing. Like, I know... I look at the storytelling that is being done in games. I look at the extraordinary depth of characters that are being created. And they show up, those characters are created so far before we as actors show up. So they're already being treated with such reverence, and there is so much depth and uniqueness and complexity to these characters. And anytime I hear another actor talks to me and says they're surprised that I work in games, I'm like, you have no idea how satisfying these roles are, especially when you're doing mocap, because then you're pretty much doing a combination of television and theater already.
Yeah.
You know, you're already there. Just because you're wearing a silly suit does not mean you are not doing the thing.
Yeah.
In fact, you're doing it harder.
You're embodying that character.
You're doing it exactly. Yeah. And so the level of satisfaction and the level of what's the word? Like their level of immersion that you get to have in these characters, and then you get to know that people are going to experience this performance of yours as part of something that they get to have agency within.
Right.
They are not just watching it from afar. They actually get to be a part of telling that story. Knowing that that's what happens on the other end. It's not just on a screen and they're sitting back and maybe pausing it and going to the bathroom and then coming back and maybe getting back into it. No, this is something that is... I think games touch people on a level that a lot of people don't understand.
100%. I think also that's why we've seen some recent really great crossover between TV and film and game. Obviously Dungeons and Dragons and then Last of Us and then Super Mario. But I think prior to that, I think that a lot transforming that game medium into TV and film, that immersion and that connection was what was lost. They could never replicate it, because with TV you're experiencing it in third person, but in games sometimes you are that character and you have that agency. That's something you can't replace. So that's why with Lance, that investment and that respect, he respected gaming so much that I just was like, you deserve my respect, because you're not just seeing this as, oh, I'm just going to do a game just for the sake of it because everyone's doing a game.
Right.
You're actually here, you're invested, you're doing multiple roles, you're lending your voice and your likeness to multiple characters. You're becoming a mainstay. And I think that also, besides his performance in the games, for me, that respect for the industry and that investment also showed he gets it, and he's a figure that is not going to be ignored or kind of try and undermine gaming's impact.
It shows a total lack of ego.
Yes,
is what it does.
Yes,
is because you have to get in the silliest suit and do the stupidest things with people who aren't as famous as you. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And to just be able to remove ego from it completely is it's remarkable, and it's what shows. I mean, you're at your deepest truth on a mocap stage, because you don't get the costumes of the set or any of that stuff,
and you certainly don't get as many takes.
No,
because those cameras are because when you're shooting TV or film, you've got your coverage, you got your close-up, you got this person's coverage, you got their close-up, you got over the shoulder, you got all these different angles that they're getting you at. So you get a lot of chances to really go through this scene, even if it's only like 1 or 2 takes on your coverage. Yeah. But when you're shooting on a mocap volume, the cameras are surrounding you. They're getting you at all the angles. So you might do 2 or 3 takes of something for the whole scene, and then moving on.
Okay.
Because if you got through it, if everybody got through it like a play, if everybody got through the scene with no screw ups and they essentially got the stuff that they needed, you move on. So you have to be really on the ball when you're doing mocap. You can't. There's a lot less room for error. Yeah. Which is for me, I feel like it's even more exciting than theater, which is crazy because theater you're right there with a live audience. But there's that tip over between my whole body. Someone might be focusing on my ear. Like I have no idea what camera angle is going to be used in this. So you really have to be in it. Yeah. Okay. You want to say something?
No, I think that's exactly it. And in order to be in that space with people that you didn't get to have a decision on who's there and all that stuff, like I just think it shows total, lack of ego, like pure actor.
Yeah, and exactly pure skill. Yeah.
And a love of storytelling.
Yeah. Yes.
Because ultimately, even if it's Super Mario Brothers, there is a story there. Yeah. There is a reason that character is doing all of the crazy things that they're doing, and having that respect for it is vital as a performer, and having the respect for the people who created it.
Yeah, yes. Absolutely.
Understanding that, again, as an actor, you showed up late in the game. No pun intended, or pun intended. You showed up late. They've been working on this with their heart and soul for ages before you showed up. So give it the respect and give them the respect that they deserve.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which is a big part of why we wanted to do this podcast, is to make sure that people were really understanding that all of the different aspects that go into a great performance, and it is not even remotely just about the actor.
And that's the thing, we don't have those conversations very often, so it's really good. I'm excited to be here and talk about this, because these are things that I tend to only talk about with my partner, because he's in the film, acting, directing space, and like we have this intersection talk where we see something that's coming from gaming gone to TV, and like how it's been translated, and the intersection between the media. And I don't think in gaming, or the common gaming consumer, is really thinking about these kind of angles about the industry. So yeah, it's really great. I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm excited for the future, and I'm very appreciative for all of the tireless work that you have done.
Thank you.
For our community. It is. I'm sure that yes, you have created a business. Yes, there are people that get paid because of you. But at the end of the day, like the amount of free labor that you have put in for this to change an industry. Thank you.
And
don't make me emotional.
Well, and not just to change the industry, but by doing that, you are changing the world, because so many people are involved in this. So many people, as players, as creators, as developers, as actors, so many people are involved, and you are genuinely making a huge difference for all of us. So
thank you. Sometimes I have to sit back and remind myself that as well.
We'll remind you.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
great.
Good. We got you. Like, we'll just make sure it's just like, hi, this is just your daily reminder that you are amazing and changing the world. Just in case, just wanted to remind you. Off you go. Bye. Have a great day.
It's important to have people that remind you.
It is.
It's true. It's easy to forget, especially when we're all so busy and we're doing so many different things.
And also because when you're wearing so many hats, you're like, yeah, that thing went well. Let me move on to this thing. Yeah, I did that. Great. I'm very bad at taking the win in the moment. Yeah. Because I'm like, I got 20 other things to do. Yeah. No, I'm glad we got an A on that test. Now we got to focus on this test.
Literally.
But we are here.
It means I don't have to worry about it.
Yay. So here we are here absolutely to celebrate you and everything that you have done, and your love of games, and your love of the industry, and your love of people. And can't wait to see all the amazing things that you continue doing.
Me too. I'm excited. I'm tired, but I'm excited.
Very tired. Yeah. Maybe you should join our spa day.
Yes.
Oh, no. You mean no?
Yes.
Actually, text me.
All right.
I will.
All right.
All
right. We got this. We can make this happen.
Is there anything that is coming up that you want to talk about, or tell us where we can reach you, or any of that stuff?
So there are a number of things coming up for Black Girl Gamers in particular. I haven't spoken about this externally, actually, so this is the first time I'm saying it. So in 2020, we did a Black Girl Gamers Online Summit, and that is coming back this year. And that was just this is going to be 2 days of just content and panels and people from all different walks of life in the gaming industry coming together to kind of talk about where it is right now and where we can move forward in the future. Obviously with the Black women lens, but from just a plethora of different viewpoints. I can't give away too much. So that is going to happen probably mid-year. Amazing. I'm super excited about that. Obviously Gamer Girls Night In, we're in the planning for that to come to the US. Gamer Girls Night In is a event specifically focused for women and non-binary gamers, combining gaming, beauty, and fashion. What else is coming?
Spa Day is coming.
Spa Day is coming.
We're gonna make this happen.
And just continue. I always say bigger and better. That's the main thing. I don't always have necessarily a succinct goal, because when you pass it, then what? So always just bigger and better, because then you can always go bigger and better than that goal.
And where can people find you on the interwebs and other?
On the interwebs, you can find me on Instagram, on X. Sorry.
Yeah, I know it's hard. It's hard. I can't bring myself to say it. It feels so weird when you say it. You just gotta say. I still want to say Twitter. Sorry.
I still say Twitter.
Twitter, X, whatever it is. Jayannlopez. Oh my God, I can't say my own name. JAYANNLOPEZ_. And you can find Black Girl Gamers at Black Girl Gamers on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, and the Black Girl Gamers on Instagram, because it was already taken. Yeah, that's it really. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you
for the lovely
so much for
conversation.
being here. Yeah, thank you so much. Oh, I can't follow that. That's just so hard. Everybody, obviously, this is an incredible conversation that we got to have with Jay-Ann. Please, please, please share, comment, like, subscribe. I'm going to point in a bunch of directions like I always do in case there are pop-ups on the screen happening showing you important things. In the meantime, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. I am Anjali Bhimani.
And I'm Julia Bianco.
And we will talk with you soon.
Thank you.
Character Select is recorded at Slap Studios, LA. Executive producers Rick Barrio Dill, Julia Bianco Schoeffling, and Anjali Bhimani. Producers Coorey and Madigan Hunt. Research assistant Amanda Mack. Intro animation by Coorey and Larissa Donahoe. And additional editing by Josie Scott, and theme song by Rick Barrio Dill. The views and opinions stated on this show are those of the individuals and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their employers. Thanks for listening.